Hello, friends and fellow lovers of all things beachy. Welcome to The Beach Speaks, the podcast that shares stories about the beach and our connection to it. I'm your host and beach lover, Paige Friend, helping you reconnect with the beach, return to your soul, and reimagine your life. So grab a cool drink, relax in your beach chair, stick your toes in the sand, and enjoy this episode of The Beach Speaks. Hey, beach lover. Early October of 2021, when the post-pandemic world was beginning to open up for travel, we had just found out that Ernie only had a month vacation before starting a new job. So we decided to go on a 12-day adventure to Costa Rica. Yeah, it was kind of a last-minute idea, and I had no idea how we were going to pull it off, but I knew my friend and travel agent Judi could make it happen. And true to form, she took care of all the details, from booking flights to finding the hotels and excursions that she knew we would love. And she arranged all of our transportation and even the COVID test that we would need to get back into the States. She had every detail covered so that when we got there, all we needed to do was enjoy our dream of 12 days of relaxation and adventure in a tropical paradise. But then, on day 12, something happened. The moment we walked off the plane, loaded our luggage in the car, and drove home, that peaceful, feeling I'd had from just hours before suddenly turned to, the shock of coming back to, well, life. And I was really surprised how down I felt. I mean, we had such a fabulous time, and yes, coming home meant coming home to the beach, but it was December, cloudy and chilly, not exactly the tropical paradise we had just left. I joked with Judi that for all the planning she did for us, there was one detail she missed. She didn't include what to do after. Since now is the time that many of you are getting ready to go on your own vacation getaway, I thought it would be helpful for Judi and Kathy, my other travel agent friend, to give us some tips for making that return to real life a little less shocking. Hey, Judi and Kathy, welcome back. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm great.
Really good, Paige. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was really, really fun having you visit a few weeks ago. I really appreciate that you set the intention to actually come and see me, and we had a lot of fun. And I was thinking afterward, because you all had come off of a trip and then were ostensibly going then back to work. And I was thinking, how do we make that transition from this fabulous vacation or trip that we've had and all that good stuff, and then we have to jump back into real life? And so I thought, okay, you two are the experts in this traveling thing. And I remember Judi and I talking about the end of our trip to Costa Rica and how we had gotten back. And the one thing that I said that you need to do for your clients is tell us how to come back to real life.
I've never forgotten that either.
So, Kathy, why don't you start and give me a lesson in how to get back from this vacation and not feel like I need another vacation?
Well, we considered some of the things that we do just in general. when we return from a vacation, and I never thought about, giving this as a tip to my clients. So I'm really excited about doing this podcast and letting people know, here are some really great things that we do and sharing it with other people. So when we were considering how we wanted to break it down for you, my idea the other day was, what if we broke it into two categories? Because there's really two different things that go on when you return from a trip. One of them is like a mental feeling where you're mentally almost in kind of a return from your trip depression, like, oh, it's over. Now what? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people are booking, a year in advance and they've been looking forward to that for so long. And now it's over and you're like, now what do I do? Now what do I occupy my mind with? And then the other part is the physical part, because a lot of times when we travel, we get fatigued, we get dehydrated, we might overindulge in foods that we don't normally eat or drinks that we don't normally drink. So it's just a whole different change of lifestyle from what we do in our regular routine. So we thought we're going to break this down into two sections, both the mental health and the physical health, and also touching a little bit on what you can do to prepare prior to the trip as well, to keep yourself well and healthy.
Sounds good to me.
Well, Judi and I both decided to take one aspect of that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the physical aspects of what you can do both before and returning. And she's going to get into more of the mental well-being. So let's start with the mental well-being, because for me, that's always the most important.
I totally agree. And after such a beautiful trip, Jacksonville Beach was gorgeous. Talk about the beach speaking. And we enjoyed so much of the sightseeing that you gave us. We got to see, what is it called? The Bones Beach, the Boneyard, I think they called it. And just really get in tune with what you get to experience every day. We don't have that, being in Ohio, we don't really have that luxury. So for us, when we come back, it is a very difficult transition into reality again. So for me, and I know with Kath as well, the mental part of it has always been more of a fake it till you make it. So I keep telling myself things, even though they may not be in reality at this moment, things that I want to somewhat change my perspective or change my paradigm per se, and mentally prepare and come back and get into it. So for me, a lot of times before I even leave, I like to kind of breathe into my trip. I don't like to have everything, done at the last second. So I start doing things like I may clean my house and make sure everything is somewhat prepared for when I come back. It's nice to slip into my bed and I've got nice clean sheets. And I like the fact that, when I come back from my trip, I may not have to open up the refrigerator and see a full refrigerator because things spoil. So we tend to, get rid of everything. But I like the idea of things are already made and I pop it out of the freezer, maybe, something that's baked or something that can be done. So I don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, on the way home, I'm thinking I've got to go to the grocery store. I've got to unpack. I have no laundry detergent. I have no this. And you're like overwhelmed with all of these things that reality brings. And literally hours prior, you just left this beautiful place. You're on this airplane and you come home and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in anxiety now. So for me, it's always fake it till you make it. Being prepared ahead of time mentally kind of helps me when I get back to feel like I'm easing into it. Part of that is, and Kathy and I, we laugh about it, but I absolutely identify with visual. So for me, I'll go through a lot of my pictures and I will see a beautiful sunset or a sunrise that I took, or a picture of, or maybe a video of, or a beach that I really liked. One of them was when you and I got up in the morning and we didn't think it was going to be all that great of a morning walk. You were thinking, oh, it's overcast. It's not going to be that great, Jude. Don't get too disappointed, because I was looking forward to seeing what you see every morning. And it turned out to be the most spectacular sunrise. It was oranges and fuchsias and yellows that were so vibrant. And just taking those pictures, made my heart sing. And I was so excited. So when I was coming home, one of the things that I did was I basically went through a few that I knew that I really liked. And then I go and I, make a 5x7 or maybe a 4x10, whatever it may be. And I actually hang it up. So every day when I'm getting dressed, maybe I'll have it on my bathroom mirror, so you look at your mirror all the time. And it just kind of brings me back into that vacation mode, even if it's for a moment. I remember the relaxation that I had every morning, getting up thinking, oh, I'm going to breakfast and then I'm going to be laying on the beach, or I'm going to be, walking through this beautiful resort, and I'm going to see all of these beautiful sights that maybe I don't get a chance to experience at home. So those are a few of the things that I call fake it till you make it, because it changes my paradigm every morning when I look at it. I will honestly say that there are times when Kathy and I have traveled and I have taken pictures of some of the things that literally made me laugh so hard. A couple times she's tripped. Thankfully, she didn't get hurt, but somehow I had the camera out. I took a picture of her, like just laying there as the tram was going by, like this, like she's just like, is anyone going to help me? Now, for me, that picture every morning cracks me up. I don't know why. It just reminds me of her, just, like people looking at her like, what are you doing? And she's like, why are you helping? For me, I don't know why, but that makes me laugh every day. So that moment that I'm reliving that, even though I'm ready for work and I'm like, maybe it's raining or it's cold and I'm not really in the mood to go, it brings me back into vacation mode in my mind. So mentally, it just makes me laugh. It makes me happy. And it makes me think of a thought that I absolutely adored. The other thing that I will say most of my clients do, which crack me up because I am now doing this, is if you just took a whole year to talk about where you want to go and talk about this. And we talk to our clients so often that once you've taken the trip, we're like, we can't call you. And, yes, we can call you and say hello, but we don't have something to talk about that is of interest, because we get excited too for you to go on that trip. So anyway, I have a lot of clients that will come home and immediately call and say, hey, I'd like to book another trip. And it may be for the following year, but they have something more to look forward to. And really, it's just a matter of, can you tell me if there's any good deals out there? Can you tell me if I can put a deposit down? Can you tell me if, should I take a cruise or should I go there and stay the whole week? So it gives them something to look forward to just by replanning something that's going to make them happy the following year.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kathy and I started doing that. Originally, we used to say, okay, January 1st, everyone's doing resolutions. And we're like, okay, where are we going to go? So in March, we want to go here. In April, we want to go here. Our resolutions were, where are we going on a trip? As travel agents, we like to travel and see what's going on so that we can actually tell our clients firsthand, rather than let me pick up a brochure and see what the brochure says is happening when the client gets there and it's completely different. The pandemic kind of proved that to us. The service isn't always the same, or the food isn't the same, or the hotel is taking a beating on a hurricane or something like that, and it's been remodeled. We like to be there so we can see what is it our clients are going to see before we suggest they go there. So those are some of the things that have helped us mentally.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I'm mentally prepared. Now, what do I do, Kathy?
I want to say on a note, what Judi said about booking the next trip. I spend a lot of time in Jamaica. I absolutely love Jamaica. And I went through an entire 5 years in a row of I refused to leave Jamaica without booking my next trip first. So even if it was like 2 days before I'm leaving, I'm booking the next one. So I already know when I'm coming back. And it was like a thing I did for like 5 years. Just kept doing that. So it really does work. So physically, Paige, I work hard and I play hard. So when I'm on vacation, it's no holds barred. I am going full tilt, full throttle, up at dawn, trying every decadence under the sun regarding food, drink, whatever it is. So, I don't hold back on anything. So
Indulge, yes.
what happens is, by the time I get home, especially as I've, getting a little older, I find that I'm exhausted, literally exhausted, because I've been going on empty for, however many days it is. And you probably know by now, a week's vacation is not enough for me. It's got to be a minimum 2, maybe a month. So I'm hanging on by a thread when I get here. So one thing I will say that I tend to get off my good practices sometimes when I'm on vacation. One of which is drinking plenty of water, because when I'm home, water is pretty much all I drink, unless I'm having a cocktail or something like that. But typically, it's water all day. And when I'm on vacation, that doesn't always happen. So the first thing I like to do right away is, fill up my water bottle and just make sure I'm getting plenty of water when I get home. Also, flying is dehydrating and bloating. So again, that water is going to help with any water retention or bloating that you have from flying. And of course, that extra dehydration from being on the plane. So that's really the first thing I do. And then I just started doing this other thing this year, and I found that it's amazing. So I book a massage for the day after I return, because I'm not a good flyer. I get very nervous and tense, during the flight. And I find that I hold that tension in my shoulders and my neck, and it's very painful. And, I don't have anybody here to help me out with that. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to book a massage for the day after I get home. Let's just take all this stress and all this tension and just get rid of it and ease back into my routine. And I
Yeah, I
always,
like that.
just digressing to prior to leaving, I get a massage right before I leave, the day before I leave, and the day after I come home, I get one. So it's kind of, a dual thing. Another thing that, sometimes, depending on the type of vacation, like when I was in Europe last year for a month, we did a lot of walking. I mean, we were walking, I don't know how many steps we were getting a day, Jude. It was a lot. And we all said, you know what, when we get home, we're going to keep this up. We're going to keep up this walking, because we kind of got into a routine of it on the trip. And sometimes when you're at home and you're in your day-to-day activities, you don't necessarily find time for all those things that are good for you. You know what I mean? You're busy. I know sometimes I can go like 8 hours and don't get up from my desk. So I vowed to keep that walking going. I purchased one of those walking pads from Amazon. I love that thing.
What's a walking pad? What is that?
It's it's like a little mini version of a treadmill, right? So it's only half the size. You turn it on, it's electric, just like a treadmill. And there's no, railings or anything to hold on to. They're actually kind of designed to put under a stand-up desk. But some people just use it like I do, as just like a treadmill type thing. And then if you can keep that routine going, and then you're taking those benefits that you had on from your trip and you're translating it into your daily routine, which I think has worked out really great for me. And then another thing I like to do, and this is if I have time, you don't always have time for this, but it is a nice thing. If you plan your trip in such a way, if you have the flexibility to say, maybe you have the weekends off, right? And if you can plan your trip so that you return, say, on a Friday, and then you still have Saturday and Sunday off before you have to go back to work, that in itself, that translates physically and mentally. Like, you have this time to like really ease back into your routine. But one of the things that I wanted to try doing is I do these things all the time, but I never thought of doing it like after a trip. But I do these home spa days where I set up an area where I do all my facial products. I do a couple of different masks and serums and different things like that, scrubs. I have one of those wax machines, the hot wax. So you dip your feet and your hands into it. Because I don't know about you, but my feet and hands always get so dry when I travel. And I just thought to myself, this is a nice thing to do after I return because I don't always keep to my skincare routine when I'm traveling. You don't always take all your products with you. And I do like to keep up with that. So I thought, what a great way for me to just get myself back into the routine of that. So those were some of the things that I thought about for physically.
Yeah, wow. If you have worked and planned this wonderful vacation, most people do that to either relax or just go full out, enjoy, do. You want to kind of integrate that energy and take it with you, right? So I think that's a really great idea to focus on that physical aspect and that water really. And think about that as well, because just traveling and flying, yeah, the edema that builds up
Mm-hmm.
just from like a long flight, especially, and you're not getting good rest, and the whole eating thing. I can completely relate to the getting out of your eating habits and exercise and all those things because you just kind of want to
Right.
relax and do. And and then you think, okay, when I get back, I'm getting back on the water train, I'm getting back on the walking train, and all those things. Or now is the time I'm going to start this. Yeah, and then I was thinking about the I guess they call them the Sunday scaries, when you just had this fabulous weekend even, and then Sunday night you're thinking, oh, Monday, gotta dive right back into it. So even if you're just dealing with that, mentally preparing yourself for easing into the week, kind of sometimes you got to get up at 5:30 in the morning and get to the office,
And
so
go to traffic and things like that. And I have clients who deliberately plan their vacations on certain days of the week just so they can ease back into things. And the whole reason why I started getting the massage prior to my trip is because as it's getting down to the wire, like the last week before you go, I'm so busy just doing last minute stuff I have to do. I would get so stressed, and I like to go to bed early the night before. I shoot for 6 o'clock, but it's usually 9. And so I thought I need to really relax in order to go to bed early like that. You know what I mean? So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get a massage. Like once I get my massage, there's no more work. There's no more nothing I do. I simply come home and get ready for bed. It's like, that's it.
yeah, I love that. And Judi, I liked your idea, and I try to do this too, is prepare the house for when I get back. So like clean out the refrigerator of stuff that's going to be bad. No one wants to open up a refrigerator and see all the moldy stuff that was left over that you forgot to take, like empty the trash, do the dishes, or dishes in the dishwasher at least. I like to have clean clean sheets and all that. So when you jump into bed, it's kind of create that hotel experience when I get back. So I mean, I don't lay a chocolate on my pillow, although I could do that too.
Yeah, you should get some of those little mints.
But yeah, just kind of ease into that. Oh, what a wonderful feeling to be in nice clean sheets with my fluffy pillows and having warmed up some nourishing soup or something, have a little something sweet after, whatever it is that makes you feel good, and then you didn't have to prepare.
And part of travel is truly going with the flow. And Kathy and I have traveled long enough that we somewhat take some of the principles that we try to work on each day and put those into the travel day, because travel is, sometimes easy breezy. I mean, you get through the gate, you get through security, everything's going perfectly. And then there's days when the weather's not cooperating, so you have a delay, and then they're going to reroute you here, and then you're in the air and there's some turbulence. Kathy just experienced some of that recently. And to be honest, you really see what people are somewhat made of. You'll either have those who are easy breezy, like, okay, well, I'll get off, and whatever the delay is, I'm going to go and get a sandwich, and I'm just going to relax into it. And when the storm's over, they'll call, us to go again. And then you have the others who are like frantically, chaotically going crazy and yelling and screaming. And they're, sometimes it's not the airline's fault, obviously. They want to keep us safe. And so they're yelling just because they need to get it out, but they cause more tension in the air. So we try to be a little bit more calm and collected and just go with the flow. And that's what you have to do when you travel. You have to go with the flow. So if you just had a beautiful vacation and then all of a sudden the last day they've got planes, trains, and automobiles to get you home, because if you travel in the winter, we always say up north, you got to be prepared that you're going to have some snow that's unexpected or this, that, or the other thing. A lot of times you may get into an area where you have delays. And then, like Kath says, if you have Friday and Saturday or Saturday and Sunday where you have nothing to do, it's no big deal. But if you're traveling and it's midnight and you've got to be up at work at 6 a.m. and you're still in, New Jersey and you've got to get to Ohio for say, it freaks you out. No one at the office is going to have any empathy for you were just gone for, a week or two. It's okay that you didn't come in at 6. They don't have any empathy for your travel issues. So, you got to sometimes plan for those kind of things and just go with the flow. And mentally, I think that's something that we try to practice even on a daily basis. Go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you came to visit me, you had been on this fabulous trip, and then you took the train from Miami up to Orlando, which was kind of a new experience for you. And I was thinking, that's kind of a way to ease back into. It's just like take a different way home, or have somebody drive you home or something like that, and then you came over and we kind of made it a semi-work, have fun kind of thing, right? It was nice to just sit on the sofa. We all were on our laptops doing our thing, and then we'd take a break and go have something good to eat and go visit a beach. For me, that kind of helped me acclimate myself to getting back into it. Now, granted, I don't have to jump into an office at, dark 30 and get to work, but I do have somewhat of a schedule that I try to keep up with. And I do work at this podcast. There is stuff to do. So Kathy, tell me a little bit about that, what you were doing before you came to visit me, because that just gave me the idea of how do we transition out of this fabulous trip that we just had into life.
Well, and I have to say that was a great transition. I think Judi will agree for both of us, because we were on a cruise with Virgin Voyages and it went from San Juan to Miami. Just side note, I hadn't been in San Juan for, I don't know, over 10 years, maybe longer, maybe 20 years. And I was so pleasantly surprised. It was amazing. And Judi and I can't wait to go back and spend more time there because it was actually really, really nice. And we found a couple cute places that we visited. So anyway, so on the cruise, it's pretty much go, go, go. That's kind of one of those vacations where there's always something to do. It's very exciting. There's a lot of entertainment and a lot of nightlife and whatever you choose to do, you know what I mean? You can do it all or some, but we pretty much try to partake in all of it. So going straight home from something like that can be it's a hard transition to go from that glamorous life to, oh gosh, I'm back to my place. So breaking that up with a visit to you and that whole Zen environment that you have there was really, for me, I just thought was a great transition. And also, originally we were going to drive from Miami to your place. I had rented a car and we had that all set. But then I got the email from Brightline saying that they were ready to roll. And did we want to sign up as travel agents to book those voyages for people? So when I found out that it got as close to you as Orlando, I thought, oh gosh, we need to experience this, because not just for us, but so we can tell people about it. And to be able to go from Miami to Orlando in 3.5 hours and be in complete comfort. We had our computers out. We were able to do work. We met people on the train that were talking with us, and, we had some laughs. It was wonderful. I mean, I would do that again and again and again. I thought it was amazing. And the possibilities for travelers who maybe are going to Disney World, maybe they want to do a cruise and go to Disney World for a few days, and they can be connected by Brightline. Just zip down to Fort Lauderdale or Miami and you get on a ship, or vice versa, whatever. I think it really just kind of closes the link in Florida so that you don't have to just pick one area now. And it's quite inexpensive as far as I think. Now we did go in the first class section, but they do have a second class section that I think the fares were started at like $29. I mean, they were really reasonable. No gas, no sun pass.
Absolutely. I would do that.
I was totally impressed with the terminals. They're brand new, it seemed to me. They're clean. The customer service was fabulous. The train was clean and very luxurious. The seats we actually sat in felt like a little buttery leather lazy boy. I mean, it was wonderful. And it didn't seem like it took it's like the blink of an eye. We were like, oh my gosh, we're here already. It was just wonderful. And the fact that you came and got us, we were so appreciative. It was nice to even see, I haven't been to Florida in forever. So it was nice to see even the driving parts of it to get to Jacksonville. We loved it, every part of it. And spending time with you was wonderful. So it was an easy way for us to miss that depression state of just going from the cruise to the plane to home. And, you had a lot of company. So don't discount the fact that you had company after company after company. It's hard when you've got almost like month-long visitor routine, it's hard to kind of get back in your routine.
Yeah, it was a different type of weekend. It was Easter weekend, and we did have a lot of family that came in, and we were doing all that fun stuff. But we were just kind of in that mood of everybody come and have a good time, and everybody was just going with the flow. Our family is like that. We plan, but we also plan. So our plans might not always work. And I was just thinking it was funny that you were saying that you enjoyed the ride to Orlando and then coming to Jacksonville and staying with me. And for the listener out there, if you're going to plan a trip with Kathy or Judi, don't be surprised if they schedule you a trip to Jacksonville to stay with me too.
We loved it.
And you're more than welcome to make that transition here, because honestly, the beach, what better place to reset and relax? I mean, maybe you've been to the beach on your vacation, so you probably don't want to go to another beach. But I was thinking when we returned from Costa Rica, and I just missed the sounds of the birds and that whole tropical thing, just like trying to recreate that for when I got home. Have the sounds and all that sort of stuff. I tried doing that and it lasted for a little bit, but I know. I wanted to hear more about some of the trips that you're planning coming up, and maybe some that people might be interested in doing.
Well, we have in October, we're doing a group on Virgin Voyages again. It'll be departing from Barcelona, Spain. And of course, we're so in love with Barcelona. I had no idea how amazing it was there. So we're going to go in, a little bit early, 5 to 6 days early, to just enjoy Barcelona for a bit. And then we'll go on our Mediterranean cruise, which departs on the 6th of October. And then we sail for a week in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, in March of 2025, we're planning a group to depart from San Juan from Virgin Voyages. We love the adult-only all-inclusive cruising, and they really run a lot of wonderful promotions. So depending on what time of year, whenever you want to go, usually there's an awesome promotion that makes it affordable. And what I like is this particular sailing, they're only going to do 1 week only, but you're going to visit a lot of the islands that they don't normally visit. So you'll get to go to Antigua, St. Kitts and St. Vincent's. There are some that I have been to, which I absolutely can't wait to get back to, like Barbados and St. Lucia. The list goes on and on.
There are a plethora of Caribbean beaches out there that are dying to speak to you.
it makes it nice to go on these Caribbean type of adventures because you get a taste of each island, and then maybe you like somewhere, in particular, and you may want to go back and stay a week or stay 10 days or whatever it may be. So I like the fact that they have quite a few stops with that particular cruise. It was really, really an experience to get off of the ship and see each place because they each have their own little flair, and the people are so friendly and so wonderful. And I love their accents and their little Caribbean vibe. It's just and they love meeting us, getting to know where we're from and what we do, and how can they make our vacation better. And we like to go the Virgin Voyage route because they really are winning awards after awards for all of their service and their entertainment, and their food is spectacular. So there's a lot of things that they do that are changing the way we view cruising.
All right. Oh my gosh, we should have a Beach Speaks sponsored cruise. Let's talk about that.
Well, I think the Beach Speaks fans should just come with us and experience it as well so that they can have their own podcast in reality. What do you think?
Can we do the podcast remotely? Is that possible?
I've got microphones and a recorder, and we certainly can record something. Yeah.
Okay, Beach Speaks fans, stay tuned. It's coming.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We'll get a whole group of us. I know you're out there just dying to go. The three of us are a total blast together, so you all would just have the best time.
The beach is speaking.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, you heard it here. We're going to be planning the Beach Speaks group cruise. Or you don't have to wait for me. You can contact Kathy or Judi, and they'll get you all set for your own adventure wherever. So I think it's really a good place to stop right now. I will post links to both of your sites and where they can reach you to schedule their own vacation or what you have going on with the group. And you guys will be back soon because we always have something fabulous to talk about with the beach. So, and you're my favorite guests. You both are fabulous, and your trips that you plan for me are fabulous. And I just love you too. So thank you so much for hopping on and talking to me today. We'll speak soon.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thank you, Paige.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And the beach is speaking. Are you listening? So, what are you going to do after your next fabulous vacation getaway? I know I use that word fabulous a lot, but that's me. I'm definitely going to do the massage thing. And the beach is telling me to do a salt water float. I'm making a list, so if you have any more suggestions, what works for you or something you'd like to try, send me an email at paige@thebeachspeaks.com and I'll add it to the list. The beach is speaking. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Beach Speaks. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the beachy vibes and share it with a friend. Because, let's be honest, who doesn't want more beach in their lives? And if more beach is what you crave, go to thebeachspeaks.com and sign up for my newsletter. It's an easy way to stay in the know, collect some tips and travel hacks for your next beach adventure, and find out what I'm doing at the beach. And if you want to dive deeper into the ocean of support, consider becoming a Beach Speaks Patreon member. Your contribution helps keep the podcast afloat, and you'll enjoy some cool perks that only our Patreon family gets to enjoy. The beach is speaking. Are you listening?